Okay, we will
Yeah,
call
order.
the Mount Sterling Council meeting for May 10th, 2021 to order. Roll call.
David?
Here.
Melanie? Here. Craig?
Here.
Becky?
Here.
Jay?
Here.
Andy?
Here?
All is present. I don't know why I was looking up there.
Why?
David, you want to lead us in prayer?
Lord, thank you for another beautiful day. And Lord, it was so great seeing our community come together. As you said, love thy neighbor. As we worked this weekend and helped our neighbors, as we helped them in situations of hauling trash and painting and working and helping our neighbors. And Lord, be with council tonight as we make decisions for our village, and be with our mayor and also our sheriff and all of the people of the village. In Jesus' wonderful name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. I need a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the finance work session held on April 26, 2021, and the council meeting minutes held on April 26, 2021.
You had that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, David and Craig. Roll call?
David?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
And I'll pass it around when we.
Okay. Mayor's report, I don't have a lot tonight, but I would like to say, Courtney and I got the pleasure of going to the Sterling Place for a presentation to a Mel Leaper. She's a resident there, and she helps with Meals on Wheels. And as part of Volunteer Week, which is kind of past, they gave her a Spirit Award. And she was quite a wonderful lady to meet, and so we're real proud of her, and just kind of wanted to do a shout out here at the meeting. We also have some of our residents that are also volunteers that go out and pass out the meals. Julia, for one, I know is one of ours, and so it was very nice of them to invite us up, and they were excited to see the mayor for some reason. I'm not sure, but that made me feel good. Yeah, it was like really good, but. So that was actually in the Messenger. If you get the Messenger, it was in their article. And then also nominations sought for Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame. So if you know any veterans here in our town that like to do community service and that sort of thing, I think the deadline is June 1st to enter them into this Hall of Fame award. So that's in there as well. And, yeah, I do want to say thank you to all the volunteers that did come out, the Nazarene Church that helped, and I know Becky will probably go into all the details of the weekend, but it was a beautiful weekend for it, and we really do appreciate those volunteers. That's what makes the community strong. So that takes us to President Pro Tem report. Mr. Petty.
Yes, thank you. A lot's been going on. Like I said, I'll let the committee share their side of things. There's a lot of things going on around the community, and also things internally as well. Our council members and the committees have been working diligently trying to navigate through things, tie up loose ends, be creative. But no, it's been everything's coming alive here in the community. It's busy. Again, you got the ball fields are being played on, you have the community cleaning up, everybody's walking around, just a lot of awesome things. But other than that, it's been pretty exciting to kind of see this weather turn, well, whatever which way it wants to go, but this time in the right direction. So that is my report.
Okay, public comment visitors. We have Doris Woods of 96 Autumn Hayes Court. She has a neighbor that is causing a lot of problems, running a business out of his garage, parking cars in the yard, and threatening people and playing loud music. So Doris, just so both of you know, we allow our visitors a 3-minute to speak. So if you would like to speak.
Okay, when they moved in, he started playing his music loud, and I went over and I knocked on the door, and I took barbecue sandwiches to them because I knew they had been working all day. And I told him, I said, there's an ordinance in town that you don't play the music loud after 9 o'clock. I said, that's all I know. And I said, we'd appreciate it if you obey that because this music is really bad. And they said, okay. So that was my first encounter with them. Then he pulled his truck with this long trailer in front of my driveway, and they parked it there overnight. And he had about 8 to 10 cars parked up and down the street and in the yard and behind the house. And it's just went from bad to worse. And one day I was out there stepping off to see how many feet, because I was thinking about putting a fence between the yards. And he yelled out the door, he says, "What's your problem?" And I said, "Sir, I'm sorry, but I don't have a problem." And he said, "Well, you don't need to be so nosy." And I didn't say any more. I just went in the house and I called the sheriff. But the sheriff didn't make a report because they didn't give me a number. And come to find it out, he went to school with the sheriff that came out, so they knew each other. And they didn't do anything. And so he threatened me the next day. He threatened me, he said, because I was taking pictures, and I gave Courtney some of the pictures. And he said that I had no business doing that. And he said, "You live alone." He says, "These people aren't all around here all the time." He says, you're alone at night and you're alone in the daytime." And he said, "They can't protect you all the time." And I didn't say anything. I just went in the house.
Did he actually threaten you for harm then, did he?
He didn't harm me. He said that I wouldn't be protected all the time because I live alone, and there wouldn't be somebody there in the daytime and at nighttime to protect me all the time.
Okay.
He referred to me. Because I live across the street from her, and he thought that we were relations. We're not relations, we're neighbors that look out for each other.
Yeah.
Mr. Sheets, would you like to stand up? Mr. Sheets is with 97 Autumn Hayes Court.
My name's Harold Sheets, and when he first moved in, he blasted his music. I walked over, knocked on the door, asked him not to turn it down. He said he would. Then he just kept going. Now, it's escalated to the point to where he pulled out of his driveway in his Cadillac Escalade, stopped in front of my house at the mailbox, blasts that music, goes out. When he comes back in, he does the same thing. I got a decimal reader because I called to ask about it. And they said, "Well, can you prove the decimal?" "I'll show you decimal readers from just yesterday." I got that on my phone. Now, he's spreading rumors about me being a drunk. And what really upsets me about this part of it, he's trying to do what he can do to goad me into doing something, and I won't do it. But now he brought my wife in on the deal. My wife passed away 60 years ago of cancer. That's bullcrap that he's bringing her in on it. Now, he keeps it up, he keeps trying to get me to do something. I know the next door neighbor, when he done that the other day, without lost his grandfather's glass off of his wall. He done broke one of my pictures off my wall. I was gonna bring it, I didn't do it. I should have brought it. The picture hangs right over top of where my little dog eats at. If she would have been there, it would have probably killed her. Now, something needs to be done with this guy. He's got cars parked in the yard. He brings them in. I put in plenty of pictures. We got plenty of letters. Matter of fact, my neighbor was supposed to drop off a letter this morning about this thing that he did Friday. Now, they're doing it to antagonize and trying to get me to do something. So they can get me on camera about refusing to do anything. I would like to have my village leaders do something. I mean, it's been nothing but a problem ever since we had moved in. And I'm telling you, my daughter went down to my house to let my little dog out. She was going home. They had their little boy call her, excuse the language, please, a fat fucking pig, a fat fucking whore. My daughter, and you can ask Jackie, you can ask this, says nothing to nobody. Nothing. She told me that, she sent me a text, I called her up, and she was bawling her eyes out. And she's a 40-year-old lady. I mean, whenever somebody comes to my house, they should not have to be harassed that way. So, I'm just gonna ask you, please, find some way to take care of this. I mean, my neighbors beside me, we look out for each other. You don't worry about your house being broke. I put a security system in my house because of those dumb people. Before, I never had to worry about it. I had doors, I had people to the right, people to the left, people cut a corner over there. The only problem we had was the little drug house. And they really didn't cause this kind of problem.
Okay.
So,
Um,
I thank you for letting me speak. And
Jack, would you care to address any things that you've dealt with so far?
Yeah, just so you know, Randy's been a resident of Mount Sterling since they built Autumn Hayes. So he's been here quite a bit.
my house was bought and paid for.
I've known Randy for many years. I knew his wife Tina.
Is this Randy? I'm sorry.
This is
Okay.
Randy, yeah.
Okay.
It's Harold, but everybody calls me Randy, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Been on many fishing trips with Randy. He's taught me a lot. And to see him this upset, it upsets me, and to see Doris upset, that upsets me. Anytime Randy calls me about a problem, I usually try to address it. Now, the cars in the yard, that's a nuisance issue. There's other things, other nuisance issues we can go after. I don't know where our dispatchers got, you need a decimal system to read the decimals, to see how many he's putting out. The village ordinance says beyond 50 feet from a vehicle, that's all you need. And when I was a police officer here, I wrote many of those.
Don't wanna look at it, pass this around? I did,
But
I did some definitely on
89.
my phone.
Yep.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But him bringing
That was yesterday.
Tina into it and saying Randy's drunk, Randy don't drink. I've never seen him tip a beer in my life. And like I said, I've been on many all-night fishing trips with him. So he's not a drunk, he's not one of your complainers that complains about everything. He's a good resident, Doris is a good resident. And together, I think we're gonna have to find a solution and get rid of this problem.
Hey, Jack, could the situation get dangerous then, you think, or you keep it even keel?
The only time it's gonna get dangerous is if he ever feels threatened,
Okay.
and
I will have one thing to say about that. I stopped my son-in-law from coming over one day because my youngest daughter got out of the car and they said word to her. He wasn't with her. He was on his way. He's a big boy. I'm a big man, but I couldn't stop him. He's 450 pounds, 6'4". He will listen to me to a point, but he was coming over and he was gonna leave him a spot in the, and lucky enough to got up.
Okay, so just so council is aware, yeah, I've had conversations with Mrs. Woods and I've had conversations with Mr. Sheets. I have a file in my office that I started with these complaints and these issues. I have reached out to Sheriff Swaney. We were gonna try to have a meeting here, but he said that there had only been one official complaint that had been phoned in. Also, I did speak with our solicitor, who said that it was a civil matter and that the village really didn't have any responsibility for handling the situation at this time. So, just wanted everybody to know that it's nothing that we've been sitting on back here. We do feel horrible about the situation, and, I'm just not really sure where to go from here.
we're gonna take other avenues.
Yes,
live in a residential area, and Earl Lift built that subdivision, and he made certain provisions for people that live there. And I think I gave you a
Mhm.
copy of those provisions.
Yes.
And because it's residential, he's not supposed to have that trailer because he uses it for business. He says it's personal. He said he did speak with you about it and it was okay with you. And he stretches the truth, but I'm afraid to go out and sit on my front porch when he's home because they get that kid to go out front to cause trouble, and then that's what starts it.
Yeah,
You can't blame the little boy. The little boy's doing what they're telling him to do,
okay.
okay?
So you guys have a plan put in place then?
I've got one.
Okay,
I've been talking with Randy about it. He stopped me the other day and to say he was upset, I mean.
Well, I do
he was
get,
upset.
I do get upset, and I will say what's on my mind, and
That's,
okay.
I love that about him. but-
All right, well, we really appreciate you bringing it here, and we're sorry that you're having that issue, and we hope that it gets,
Can I say one thing
Yes,
too?
yes.
My name's Becky Martin. I'm the chairman of the Nuisance and Abatement Committee. And I just want to tell you from my perspective, there are a few things on that list of complaints that you have that we can at least issue a scare letter to them. And I'll make sure that that happens. They're not allowed to have cars in the yard, only in the driveway. And a few different things. We'll drive down there and take a look at things. So we'll follow up from what we can do. Like the mayor said, there's certain things that our hands are tied, but we will definitely, take every step we can, and we appreciate your restraint and that you've been showing. And I know it can't be pleasant living like that. And hopefully between the sheriff and the committee, we can resolve some of your issues. Yes, Jack?
I know back in the day, Mount Sterling had a noise ordinance. I can't find it in the codified ordinances now. So if we can get one drawn up,
we have one, she gave me a copy of it,
She
and,
found it.
is it the automobile amplification?
Yeah, it has
Mhm.
everything in it.
Because if it's just the automobile one, we can't use it. We can use it for just the automobile.
It has audio as well listed in
From household or from vehicle?
it. I gave it to Marcy, so I don't,
he's got it from the house and from both of his vehicles.
yeah, I don't have it up here with me, so, but we do have it, we can get it, we'll get it for you tomorrow.
Okay, and then if we don't have one that's, like streaming kids at 11 o'clock, that's a noise disorder. If they're in their own yard, they're not breaking curfew, but, we can address that. So if we don't have it, let's get one.
But I'm sorry, but, whatever, I've called 4 times, and the other sheriffs come out, they never write a report. There was one time that they never even showed up when I called. And I'm sorry to tell you, but I watched the one standing in the yard over there with the guy turn around and point to my house and to her house and laugh.
That's the kind of thing you need to report to Sheriff Swaney. I think, Misty was
I think I
told you
brought
that you
that
need to
up,
speak to him directly if you have those kinds of issues.
And, and that's the day he told us that, that was not a threat, and told us we was not allowed to take any kind of pictures of all or whatever, and I'm sorry to tell you, but yeah, you are.
Okay. All right. Thank you for bringing it to our attention, and, as Becky said, thank you for your restraint, and we hope that this issue gets resolved.
I'm sorry about stretching this out, but
That's okay.
it's good.
Yep. Okay, executive session, we do not have any. That takes us to department reports, and start with the sheriff's report.
You've got the calls for service in front of you. Does anybody have any questions on that? Nobody has any questions on that? I would like to say, Doris, you feel comfortable at your own house.
Thank you.
If you don't, you call me, and I'll sit down there while you go outside and do whatever you gotta do, okay?
Yeah, he said my fence needed to be moved, but what I think he's wanting to do is they're clearing
Well, he
bushes and
needs
stuff
to
in the
move.
backyard. I think he's gonna put cars back there.
He's not. So, we can take care of that, okay? And I'm sorry, but I do enjoy you guys coming to council and addressing this issue.
I'm sorry it has to be done.
Well, now, don't apologize. Don't ever apologize for that.
From the first day I met you, Jack, and when you was a policeman here, I have all the respect in the world for you. I have all the respect in the world for that badge and that uniform. It's just, I got a couple of them that's wearing a uniform that I do not have respect for right now.
Did anybody have any questions for Jack?
I did go to the sheriff's department and complain also.
Did you?
Yeah, I went over there and stood in line for about half an hour to talk to the sheriff.
Okay, well, just demand reports now. Anytime you call the sheriff's office, demand a report.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you have a question, Becky?
I was just gonna say, Jack, once the reports start getting filed and things, and maybe we can take care of some of these other nuisance issues, but I guess I have a little concern about the noise enforcement part of it, because, you know, they're being told by other sheriffs that there's nothing they can do about that, and, you know, I've personally been told by a sheriff there's nothing they can do. They can't enforce village ordinances, and actually Swaney said the same thing.
We can enforce them, yes. And I have. So, stuff like that are traffic offenses, the amplified system in a car is a traffic offense, I can enforce that. So anytime he pulls out of his driveway with that stereo blaring, he's now on the roadway, he's mine.
But if he's sitting in his driveway, is there anything sheriff department can do about our noise ordinance?
Well, we get a report every time, and I'll take it to the prosecutor and say, look, if this isn't disorderly conduct, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Because disorderly conduct reads, cause annoyance or inconvenience of another.
He was welding a car in the driveway one night, and it
Working
was,
on them in the road.
and it was right by the gas tank. I mean, you don't weld next to the gas tank on a car.
You should have went over and put some gas in it.
No, but they do it in the road, and, they just bring one car after the other. I got pictures of them breaking in 3 cars in one day. The same buddy that he's got, they all work on it. I mean, boom, boom, right out like that. They fix them, they leave, they fix them, they leave, they fix them, they leave. They come from Jackson, Ohio. I mean, just something going on.
Did you have any more for your report then?
That's it for me, if you don't have any other questions.
These, alarm drops, is that higher than normal?
No, the commercial one,
Uh-huh.
most of those were that, pharmacy, they were having alarm issues. So
Oh, okay.
every night at the same time, it would go off.
Okay,
So, but I think they've got that corrected now, and
okay,
you should see that number go down.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that takes us to the law director report. I have nothing from Mr. Smith. Courtney, do you have anything? And Misty will be here at our next meeting for her utilities report. Mr. Hale, I have nothing from him. Do you have anything from him?
Nope.
That takes us to you, Courtney Bricker, fiscal report.
All right, so I just have a few things, I won't take up too much time. But I wanted to thank the class of 2021 at Madison Plains. The seniors came out. You know, some of us were out here, I know Becky and I were outside. Marcy was man phones for the cleanup day, so I'll let Becky talk about that. But it was really good having, we had about 30 kids out. They weeded both the gazebo area and the Veterans Memorial site there. They also put mulch out there, planted some flowers. And when here at Town Hall, a lot of people probably seen them. You know, weeded the flower beds and also planted flowers and placed mulch. And then we also planted some flowers that were donated in the flower pots. And then they also went to the community center where Megan fed them. I know Becky fed them in the morning, so it was really nice kind of seeing that, that new future. And some of the kids that a lot of us knew or that maybe you live beside. It was really nice to kind of see them off on their last event. So a lot of good things, a lot of them going to college, but most of them going to some trade schools, so it was really nice seeing them there. So I just wanted to thank Madison Plains for allowing them to come, because they did a lot of laborious work.
Yes, they did.
Also, I attended the May 6th, David may say this or talk about this, the National Day of Prayer. And it was really kind of refreshing to kind of see that all the churches coming together, and everybody had a devotion or a prayer or, something that was different from every church, and to kind of see a lot of people from those churches, being in the same spot, listening to those same prayers and, speeches. And, it was really good, because there was a lot of them that I didn't, a lot of people that I didn't recognize, but was able to meet. And they prayed for everybody, and it was good to see that they prayed for the government, for the churches, for the military, for the police officers, for the neighbors and family members, education, media was a new one, and businesses. So it was really nice to kind of see and meet everybody there, and everybody coming not in a for a good reason. Everybody had that same want from it, and I think it was really good. It was really
93 people altogether.
it was a really good event, yeah. So I was proud to stand over there and be a part of that, so I really do appreciate that. Okay, so again, packets were sent out. I didn't receive any questions in regards to the finances. And again, I know I talk about the same stuff usually all the time, but were there any questions from anybody that came about before Friday? Or after Friday, I should say. Okay, so if nobody has any questions on that, I also have the bank reconciliation for the month of April completed. And again, it has been balanced to the penny, nothing more, nothing less. Of course, as you know, all this information does get sent to the state auditors for their review. So this was balanced on May the 6th, and I will be passing this around for you guys' approval as well. So with that said, if I can ask and have a motion to approve the appropriation status report, the revenue status, the receipt listing report, the payment listing report, the comparison of budget and appropriated, the cash summary by fund, the reader report, and the bank reconciliation for April of 2021.
Motion?
Second?
So that was Jay, Andy the second,
Roll call?
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Okay, and if you guys can sign these, that would be great, and I'll put the bank reconciliation on you too.
Okay, that takes us to committee reports. Finance, Andy.
I don't have too much other than to say that we continue to watch obviously the budget very, very closely, because we have a lot of desire now that weather has broken, and I'll get into this a little bit in the streets committee, to continue to do projects. The finance committee did meet actually this morning, and we approved the purchase of a new generator, so hopefully that will enable our guys to get out and do even more in the community. Other than that, we are pointed the right direction for the second quarter of the year, so I'm very optimistic things will hold, but we watch it obviously on a monthly basis. Thank you.
Pleasant Township, Melanie.
They had a meeting May 3rd. It was real quick, nothing new to report really. I did remind them that the next round of COVID funds that are gonna be available can be used for infrastructure. So I reminded them to maybe think of some things in the township that might be able to use the funds for this time around. And I talked to them about placing a bench. I don't know if you guys know the benches that are out now. So we placed a bench right there in front of the township.
I understand that those benches are pretty heavy.
That's what we had them.
That's why we have the seniors do that.
Those big farm boys.
That's right.
Squad, Jay.
Nothing new to report. The next meeting will be this Wednesday, the 12th at 8 p.m. over in the conference room at the squad building.
Okay, Fire, Craig. Too much at one time, huh?
Our meeting was kind of short. The paint issue has been resolved.
Hallelujah.
They also, now they have another issue. They have a low power and problem in their transmission, and they're looking to get it tweeted. They can do it by computer. They just have to go in and do that. They hired a new volunteer, and they had two resign, and that was the end of our meeting. And our next meeting is May 27th.
Okay. I'd like to do a shout out to Chief Taylor. He had helped us. Last week, we had an issue with our flags because they're at half-mast, and they keep getting stuck in the light pole there. And so if you see that there's no flag there, it's because we did receive another one. We just haven't decided what to do because it's the third or fourth time it's been gets stuck in that. And there's power up there. We don't want anybody to get hurt trying to get it down, so we're kind of trying to figure out what we're going to do. So just in case anybody was wondering, but Chief Taylor did come out and help Aaron get the flag untangled and down, so. Street, Andy. I'm sorry, water, wastewater, Craig.
There you
We're
go.
talking about reviewing the water ordinance, cleaning up some of the language and updating it. We also talked about a 5-year plan, such as, a list of projects that our operators are wanting to look at, the sewer plant and the water plant itself. We're also looking at possibly needing to repair some of our storm basins. And of course, our tower. Our next meeting is June the 2nd.
Okay. Street, Andy.
Yeah, we met on the 5th, and we had a fairly busy agenda. We committed to a structured approach to graveling the alleys, so we're looking forward to getting that kicked off here in the spring. Looking forward to tackling the worst ones and then proceeding out from there. So we have those already mapped out and prioritized, and the committee will continue to look at those each and every time we meet, as well as going out and taking a look at progress, obviously, and making sure that stuff is what it's supposed to be. After that, we approved pothole work and construction work for Clark Street. That will enable a sort of a widening of Clark Street at the mouth of Clark Street and Main Street. And the pothole work will tackle some leftover pothole work that we started last year but ran out of good weather for. And we need to get rolling on that. And we committed to returning the pothole work over the summer to see what both we as a village can do with our current staff, as well as understanding what the next round for that could potentially look like in the fall. We looked at what the sign order, not the sign ordinance, we have a sign ordinance, the sign order, what the status was with that. It's coming. We've heard feedback from residents on New Street and High Street about the placement of signs. And in the case of High Street, a preference for speed bumps instead of stop signs. We heard that, and we're going to work on what options are for that. Instead of something near term like stop signs. And then finally, I'm going to ask council to approve this evening a request by a resident on Autumn Hayes and Shadle Lane to reduce the speed limit on Autumn Hayes and Shadle Lane appropriately to 15 miles an hour, and with the postage of signs indicating handicap residents in the neighborhood. There's been a lot of speeding through there, and we need to enable the sheriff to take some action to reduce some of that, and first part of that is speed reduction. So can I hear support for that?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Doesn't the regulation of the speed limit go through ODOT?
No, Shadle Lane and Autumn Hayes are both village streets. So those fortunately are ones that we can't, but you're right, on 62 and 56, you're absolutely, and 207, those are state highways.
Has the sheriff addressed speeders? Has he caught speeders on the street? Has tickets been wrote?
No, and the reason why is because they're blowing past, and obviously presence is everything there. But our first step would be to try to reduce the overall speed.
Okay, so we had a first and a second. Did you get those?
Yeah.
Okay. A roll call?
Sorry. Okay. I have,
Is that, can I ask a question?
Always, sure.
Is that all of that loop? Is that what you're talking about? back-
That's correct.
The Autumn Haze?
Yep, that loop.
And what
It's-
is
it-
it currently?
It's 25, and it's coming off of a street which is now, if I remember correctly, 35 or 45. So people are not slowing down as they enter the subdivision itself. They just keep on going. And it's,
25, excuse me, it's
Yes.
25 on straddle.
is it 25? Okay.
So what do we, oh, it's 25?
We're reducing it a little bit further. We have
15.
children who are actually playing outside, and
Two of them are actually handicapped.
yeah, the density is with street parking is pretty bad, and they really need to kind of slow down in there.
I mean, I just kind of feel like we can reduce it, but if the sheriff isn't gonna address the speeders going 20, you know, if they're going faster than 25, and the sheriff isn't addressing it, is he gonna address it if it's 15?
He does address it.
Is he
I've
writing?
I've seen him stop people for speeding.
I'm inclined to agree with the residents' requests and Doris's thoughts as well. And the reason why is because of the parking situation on both. So if you're going really quickly on both, because there's parking, you're going to have a tendency to be almost by default going too quickly. Now, if we didn't, because those streets are narrow and the subdivisions are narrow by sort of design, they were never really designed to have the number of cars parked on the streets themselves that there are today. And so as a result, it makes sense to me to reduce the speed through there.
Now, one little boy has autism. He just darts when he feels like it.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, roll call then?
okay, Craig,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Melanie?
No.
Motion's passed.
Anything else, Andy?
Not on that. Thank you very much.
Parks and Recreation, Melanie?
We had our first flea market on the 2nd. It was a super turnout. Even though our food truck got a flat tire on the way and didn't make it. But we had 10 vendors. We raised over $200 for the parks. I think everybody that was there sold a good lot of what they brought. I got good feedback. Everybody seems like they want to come back. I've had people from other communities calling me wanting to come next month to set up. So hopefully this is just going to grow bigger and bigger. And hopefully food trucks will make it this time. We had a meeting on the 6th. We picked out movies. So our first movie will be on the 29th of May. We're going to watch Up. And we got some like safety things to do with that one. June movie, we're gonna do The Jungle Book. July, we're gonna do Tom and Jerry, and August movie, we're gonna do The Lorax. That's about it we went over in the meeting. I wanna tell Jeff, thank you for all his hard work he's put out there, getting kids ready to get out on the gardens, mowing the grass. I know it's like an amazing job for him. That's all I got.
Okay.
Courtney, are we supposed to accept that money?
Yep, I had that.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, sorry.
Good job. Okay, so, well, during the Parks and Rec, I was given a donation of monies, from the vendors and from what she was talking about over the $200, and then also, $50 that was accepted for items that were sold at the Mad Hatter. So that, those proceeds did go to the Parks and Rec as well. So I have a total of $288, to be deposited into the Parks and Rec fund, from the sellings of those items as well as the flea market. So I would ask for a motion, to allow those to be placed and only spent at and for Parks and Rec.
Motion?
So that was Jay,
Is there a second? Okay.
Melanie,
Roll call?
Becky,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Melanie, and Craig.
Yes.
The motion's passed.
Okay. That takes us to record retention.
I have no report other than to say I haven't asked my committee, but I think that we're going to target Friday, June 4th at 8 a.m. for our next meeting. That is a tentative right now. I need to check with them, but we're going to set that as a goal to work towards. And look for the update on that if we have to make one on the village website.
Nuisance and abatement, Becky?
Yep. Everybody's been touching on it a little bit, but I do want to talk just a hair more about our community cleanup days. It was Friday and Saturday, this past Friday and Saturday, and as Courtney mentioned, Madison Plains seniors came out, and I have to tell you, they were real troopers. They they did work really hard because they had several of us on them nagging them to keep doing that, and it was funny showing all these farm boys what's a weed and what's not a weed. Thank you. You can thank me later for that. But they did work really hard, and we enjoyed their company. Courtney hit on something. She must have been talking to him too. I had to take 3 or 4 of them to go pick up mulch a second time just up at the church, and they were telling me about their college plans, and one was going to college, one was going to the workforce, and one was going to trade school. And it was really neat just hearing their stories and just interacting with them. And their advisors from Madison Plains were just so sweet and helpful as well. And honestly, they did so much work on, our gazebo and town hall area, and then again at the community center. So, just really grateful for that. And then the Nazarene Church as well. And there were other community volunteers, council members and administration and just community members, and then the church. They donated tons and tons and tons of mulch. I know the Chamber of Commerce donated the hanging baskets. Bill's store donated money for flowers. The market crew donated money for flowers. As Courtney mentioned, a couple of businesses donated food for the kids. And then the church on the second day provided food as well. I know Marcy brought water out. I just have to say they put all the benches out that Melanie mentioned up and down the street. They're not bolted down yet. We wanted everyone to take a look at them and see if that's kind of where, we want them. And I will tell you, Courtney touched on that National Day of Prayer, and we did get some really good feedback that day as well. David was telling me about, and then I had other residents tell me about how much they enjoyed our new picnic tables and benches out there in the gazebo area. They just thought they were beautiful and enhanced the community, and I have to agree. So, I think that was money well spent. So, again, I just wanted to, tell everyone how grateful I was. And I hope there's no more frost, so our pretty flowers, nothing happens to them. Just keep your fingers crossed. Some other things going on. We will be putting signs in beautiful yards at the end of the month. And then next month, there will be an actual contest sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce for 3 beautiful yards. And those get chamber bucks, gift certificates to use at local businesses. So make sure you get your yards all spiffy and beautiful, and we'll be around looking. And our next meeting is June the 2nd. Right now on the website, it shows us as being a 2:30 meeting. It's just not working out for one of our council members, so we're going to probably move that to a 3:30 meeting on June the 2nd. So just watch the website if you are interested in coming. And as soon as I make sure that the 2 community members can do 3:30, we'll lock that in. And I think that's all I have.
Safety, Block Watch?
Well, on safety and block watch, I am canceling the meeting we had for May 13th. I got a personal reason, which all of you know, and so, but we will be having a meeting on June 10th, and we'll be discussing the night out, in which I'm really looking forward to, and that'll be at 4 o'clock. And also, everybody's talked about, which is safety to me, is getting rid of all that garbage and all that stuff. And I have to show this. This is what we always wore. I gotta stand up to show this. This one of these things. This is our mission shirts. Then we have our mission, this is what, and I hanged around the dumpster. They had me be the dumpster man, so, and then we had the church, and I was so glad how many people turned out proud of their community. And it makes you feel good being with safety, knowing you're cleaning up a bunch of trash and getting it out of the way. And I gotta make a comment on the World Day of Prayer. It's so good to see neighbors get together from different churches. I always talk about Block Watch being neighbor helping neighbor, and just like Jesus said, love thy neighbor, and he starts with your neighbors. And it was so good to have, and it's like Courtney said, and it was so good to see everybody turn out and pray for our country and our military and everything. It just makes you feel so united. And the new furniture, just like Becky mentioned, it was well received. They was all sitting there, and it was, they really liked it and everything. So it was a great thing there. And also, I just like to thank the community for coming out, and we'll be meeting with the Block Watch in June, and that's all I had to report.
Okay, thank you. Planning and zoning, Andy.
I don't have too much to report other than a couple things. Number one, I want to headline with a reminder that the open house for the zoning map update, I'm pointing at something which isn't here. It used to be right there. Will be May 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the community center. So please come out, take a look at that. I think everyone will be pleasantly surprised that a lot of things are filled in the way they kind of should be. So that's great. And the second thing is we spent some time talking about placement of food trucks in the village and also swimming pools. We're updating the codes for both. Nothing has landed yet, but other than that, the committees have been working very hard for the last couple of sessions to try to figure out some common sense approaches on everything. And we look forward to, of course, seeing the public out at these meetings. Pretty much the second and, I'm sorry, it's the first and third. First and the third Tuesdays at 6 p.m. So these are a little different from our regular council meetings. They're first and third at 6 p.m. right here. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, before we go to ordinances and resolutions, do you want to mention the plant tour?
Yes, so, again, next week will be a busy week. So there will be a water plant open house on May the 19th, from 10 to 2, and then also from 5 to 7 that day. So please come out and see the new plant. I know a lot of people have not seen the inside. You've probably only seen it from afar. We will have 5 operators on staff to answer any of your water quality questions. I know there's going to be a few members here that are wanting to attend as well. And you know, it is advertised on the website, and be sure to come out there. You know, we hope to answer all those questions that everybody has, and just to kind of give you a tour around of what it looks like. So please come out.
And they can bring samples of their
Yes,
water.
they can. Yep, and they will do an on-site testing.
Okay. Okay, that does take us to ordinances and resolutions.
Okay, so the first one, we have resolution 2021-07, a resolution adopting the Madison County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation 5-year plan update. This is on the third reading.
Is there a motion to place this on the third reading?
Have that motion?
I'll second.
David and Andy? Roll call?
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie? Craig?
Yes,
Becky?
Yes.
Now I need a motion to adopt resolution 2021-07.
I'll make that motion.
Craig and then Melanie?
Yep. A roll call?
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie? Craig?
Yes,
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Resolution 2021-07 has passed.
Okay. Yes.
Can I say one thing? Mayor and council members, I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you very much. Mayor, it's been nice, working and trying to get this solved, but, I appreciate everybody sitting here and listening to it. Sorry, it's a little more emotional, but, my wife meant everything to me. We've got it for 40 years.
Well, hopefully,
He brings her in on this subject, that's just way too low.
okay,
So, I appreciate everybody here, thank you very much.
thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Okay, the next, piece of legislation is for ordinance 2021-05, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a service agreement with the Valtech Communications. This is on a second reading.
So a motion for the second reading?
Motion?
Second?
Craig, then Jay.
Mm-hmm. Roll call?
David?
Yes.
Melanie? Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, motion's passed on the second reading.
Okay.
The next ordinance is ordinance 2021-06, an ordinance accepting the financial recovery plan / budget for the water operating fund and pursuit of the Ohio State Auditor's Office. This is the first reading.
Is there a motion to place this on the first reading?
You had that motion?
Is there a second?
Second?
David, then Andy?
Yes.
Melanie?
No.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Okay, the next ordinance is ordinance 2021-07, an ordinance amending ordinance 2019-27 on adopting procedures and methodologies for the payment of water and sewer bills. This is their first reading.
Is there a motion for the first reading?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
Ready from Jay?
Yep. Roll call?
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Ordinance, the next last ordinance is ordinance 2021-08, an ordinance to assess a flat rate administrative fee to all water consumers in the village to now include each apartment and condominium unit so that the administrative fee is applied uniformly in the village. This is on the first reading.
Is there a motion?
You had that motion?
Second?
Becky seconded. Roll call?
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
That takes us to roundtable. Anyone?
I have something. In addition to the zoning open house, I'm excited about that on the 18th. The water tours on the 19th. I want to remind everyone on the 22nd, there is a village street market, and we are blocking off the street this time. And there'll be a couple of food trucks, and right now we have close to 30 vendors, and it's just growing every day. So, you know, it's going to be a really awesome day. So come out and support all your small businesses and get you something good to eat and enjoy our new picnic tables, and just hopefully it'll be a nice day. So just want to remind everyone of that. Oh, and I was thanking people earlier, sorry, and you mentioned the dumpster duty. I wanted to thank Matt Mason for providing a dumpster and Scott McClellan for providing dumpsters as well.
Very good. Anyone else?
I want to thank all the people that cleaned up around that monument. There was a lot of veterans looking down from heaven, smiling, saying, they're getting them little weeds out between the bricks. So I want to thank them for taking the time to do even the little things. I appreciate it.
Very good.
One thing over there that I've been noticing for a year or two, but it kind of drew attention to it when they were cleaning. There's a spot that's sinking over there where the bricks are. It's closer to the driveway in front of the Mad Hatter, but and like bricks are popping up. We really need to get that addressed because it's an ankle waiting to break, or you know. But it's getting worse every year, so we need to address that little. It's almost like a pothole in the brick sidewalk there. So
All the guys take a look at it.
yeah.
Yeah, I have it written down.
Okay, good. All right, if there's nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now remember, don't leave.
Don't go anywhere.
And Marcy.
No.
That's, was that the